All Corinne Foxx has ended her quiet on her father's condition, and obviously things have gotten ugly. God help us, I felt really awkward enough to share it. I was ridiculously embarrassed about it, and I felt as I would have rather not been known as the C word, which is insane. A gigantic discussion is unrolling, and Corinne may be in some political difficulty, and it's undeniably connected with the new disclosures from AJ Benza about Jamie being to some degree deadened and blind because of serious unexpected problems. This has broken the web, and fans are going off the deep end with such countless hypotheses to stop the entire show. Corinne has at long last shouted out about her father's condition and why every bit of relevant information was kept stowed away from the remainder of the world as of recently. Has Jamie truly gone blind? Is this actually a political debate? And Corinne has fallen into its snare. Stay blocked to find out precisely exact things happening in the Jamie Foxx story. So I realized in my mind, okay, something's off base. Corinne has as of late focused in general dramatization that was happening in the background while fans and every other person were sure, hopefully not by mistake, that Jamie was doing fine. Corinne could never have spoken in the event that the new disclosure from AJ Benza hadn't turned into a web sensation. AJ Benza was as of late highlighted on Dr. Drew's digital recording, and he spilled a few serious creatures about Jamie's condition. This is what he needed to get out. Whatever I determined from the man in the room was that the blood coagulation in the mind made him by then be to some degree deadened and blind. Benza had a source in the emergency clinic, and he had seen the entire episode that was brought about by the blood coagulation. Yet you may be thinking, for what reason is Benza talking about this and not Corinne? Well, evidently Corinne and the remainder of Jamie's family were told not to talk on the subject openly or about Jamie's ongoing well-being status, since it was obviously brought about by the coronavirus mRNA. Promoter, might you at any point accept it? Genuinely, what is the deal with Jamie? I had someone in the room who let me in on that Jamie had a blood coagulation in his cerebrum after he had the chance. He didn't need the shot, yet the film he was on, he was compelled to get it. This film is doing with Cameron Diaz, and I'm believing is that why he exploded on the set 7 days before this health-related crisis happened? Is that why he discharged 3 or 4 individuals since he just had it with these orders? I don't have the foggiest idea. For what reason is Benza saying that each update shared by Jamie's family essentially Corinne is baloney? In any case, we should go through the updates shared by her, and afterward you'll comprehend the reason why Corinne did what she did. In April 2023, Fox was going for his impending film back in real life in Atlanta, and he encountered some kind of uneasiness while he was still in Atlanta and was hurried to the clinic. As per sources, Jamie was raced to the trauma center on the 11th of April in light of the fact that on the 12th Corinne set up a post on Instagram illuminating us everything that her dad was confronted with an unexpected issue a day prior and is presently hospitalized. By a source near Jamie's family, Fox's health-related crisis was serious as a heart attack, and specialists couldn't sort out promptly what befell him. Regardless of leading a few tests, we're informed he'll be hospitalized for basically a couple of additional days while specialists play out extra errands. And it wasn't only one source. TMZ had likewise affirmed from one of their sources that Jamie's condition was significant. Things were clearly serious to such an extent that his family, some of whom weren't visiting the area, needed to fly in to meet him in the emergency clinic. So on Tuesday morning, something happened to Jamie. He experienced a health-related crisis, we're told, and it's all in Atlanta, where he's been dealing with a film with Cameron Diaz. Yes, and he was taken to the medical clinic, and it was terrible enough that relatives from out of boot beyond Atlanta, there were some in Atlanta, yet relatives from outside flew in and hurried to the medical clinic to be close by. There wasn't any authority word from the family or the specialists at the emergency clinic about what the entanglement truly was. Nevertheless, famous tattle circles had guaranteed that it was a cerebrum-related confusion, potentially a mind drain. The talk depended on the way that Fox was never taken to the clinic in a crisis vehicle, and as per someone else who's exceptionally near Fox, the cerebrum drain was covered when the specialists had depleted all determination choices connected with Fox's serious migraines. It truly appeared as though arranged at the time, since not much data was accessible from genuine sources and everybody was simply hypothesizing anyway. Soon we began hearing that he was at that point improving and that it was just a minor confusion. Likewise, as per specialists, a minor mind drain can be settled whenever got early. However, something was positively off base, since there were various media sources detailing various stories and there was no word from Corinne or anybody official. At any rate, following 3 weeks had been hospitalized, an update was at last shared. Jamie Foxx Foxx was as yet hospitalized, and specialists were all the while observing Jamie intently following his puzzling health-related crisis. It was as yet secretive in light of the fact that evidently the mind-drain talk was never denied or affirmed by any authority sources then. At that point, Page 6 announced, subsequent to addressing an insider source in the medical clinic, "Specialists are running tests, yet he's conscious and alert." The insider said they're holding him under perception while there's a ton of data accessible web-based about Jamie's well-being. It's problematic. No one truly understands what happened. Things had gotten a ton more muddled in light of the fact that there wasn't any word from the family yet. One thing that caused things to appear to be a smidgen more off-putting was his co-stars and companions who have been placing out a ton of data out in the open while the family remained numb. Natasha Blasek imparted an update to Diversion this evening about Jamie's well-being. She uncovered that she was really stressed over Jamie's health-related crisis. Thus she messaged one of his dear companions who consoled her that all was great and that he was recuperating. "You just worked with Jamie Foxx. He's somebody who's on our souls right currently. Have you been in contact with him? I was messaging him, and just yesterday I conversed with his companion who resembles truly in contact with him, and yesterday I was like truly blowing a gasket since all the news that he's deteriorating so is messaging Derek, and he resembles no he's recuperating so very much. Like hearing that he was recuperating caused me to feel such a lot of good, better believe it. So yet I was messaging and like yet I for one I heard nothing back tragically, so I'm simply supplicating, and my companion yesterday contacted me. She's like we should ask together. I means it's truly insane. Like yet all we have in this world is currently helps our life, so it's extremely terrifying. Genuine mind. No doubt Kevin Hart is additionally one of the stars who have openly shared about Jamie's condition and given a report on it. He said he doesn't know about the specific circumstance yet. He has heard that Jamie's well-being is advancing. I believe I'm very unlucky to have the relationship that I have with Jamie and to have the option to check them and stuff like that, so you realize they're tight, and because of reasons pretty much where he is on the grounds that Jamie's forever been a confidential individual partially yet you realize I think the moron thing is that he's getting better in this present circumstance, and you realize everyone's requests, everyone's love, energy, everything that stuff is seen and felt. So for this situation, man, you realize you simply need the person to escape the circumstances and get back home. You realize I don't have the foggiest idea about the subtleties or the specific subtleties concerning what's happening yet. As far as anyone is concerned, there is a ton of movement on the planet. A superior man. It's not simply not Hasha and Kevin. Martin Lawrence additionally put out a word that Jamie was improving anyway. Things weren't exactly that extraordinary. A source who had addressed quite possibly of Fox's dearest companion additionally said that he was holding things near the vest, yet it appeared to be significant. Another source upheld the insider data, saying nothing had changed. Jamie is still in a similar condition. Did you notice one thing that was normal among every one of the updates shared by his companions? Every one of the assertions were really unclear and said exactly the same thing, that he was recuperating. Nobody determined what he was recuperating from. In any case, this is genuinely not all. Famous stars were likewise sending their best to Jamie via virtual entertainment and were all encouraging individuals to petition God for him. Kerry Washington likewise upheld Jamie with her post saying, "Sending you all the adoration and petitions." David Alan Greer took to Twitter to show support for Jamie. His post read, "I'm petitioning God for you, Jamie Foxx. Get well soon." Different stars like D. L. Hughley additionally showed support for Jamie, petitioning God for my fella. Benza said that it was all baloney and that every last bit of it was simply being put on a mission to trick the public. He said that all that was shared was finished garbage, particularly the thing Corinne had said about Jamie's condition, since in such a case that you read into what they were talking about right off the bat. He's speaking with us. That doesn't mean talking. That could be whatever it very well may be. Thinking of you realize I realize those little code words, and afterward when you let me know your dad's playing pickleball, offer me a reprieve. You realize I don't have a clue about. There's an extraordinary cover of mystery around Jamie Foxx. He's presumably the most multi-skilled individual we have in Hollywood. Yet even TMZ isn't detailing this, and I realize TMZ has got sources in clinics who give them data regardless of whether it's legitimate. As per what Benz is talking about, the mystery that was being kept up with till presently was exclusively to keep people in general from knowing the genuine reason for Jamie's condition. Definitely his condition was brought about by the antibody that he probably didn't have any desire to treat, as per Benz's new assertion. However, in a serious way, what does this Educate us concerning his ongoing condition. It's a stroke, it's a blood coagulation in a corridor that removes the stockpile. That piece of the mind is dead, and it has very